tournament. So if you get 0-2'd, you don't get anything. And so it's so important here for both these players, I'm sure, to come in and get themselves now a little bit of prize money on the board. Would be a big, nice little boost for them at least, so they get something for playing this event. As we have to the top left-hand side of the map, our red Zerg player from X Team. Let's see, guys, if you're going to be cheering on Silky. And to the bottom right, our blue Protoss player from Rai Esports is going to be Cyan. So Silky versus Cyan here in the ZVP. Now, I do cast a fair amount of Cyan. I don't cast as much Silky, although he does play in a fair few Joyo Star Masters. I definitely cast a lot more of Cyan. And he is a player who, he is very good, and his PvZ is not really too surprising. He's not someone who kind of throws in too many kind of weird kind of things or anything like that. It generally is what you'd sort of expect from a ZVP or PvZ match. So on this map, we're probably expecting to see him go Resonating Glaives into a third base and play it out from there. If anyone's going to change this up, I really do feel it'll be Silky. Again, Cyan's been dominating the Chinese scene in online qualifiers and so on lately, so I feel if anyone wants to try and make this, wants to change this up and make this maybe a more aggressive game and do some weirder things to try and catch opponents off guard, I think it's got to be, Silky who we look to get those sort of games. Unless Cyan feels he can be very aggressive himself and maybe throw Silky off in this sort of offline setting. I'm not sure how experienced both of these players are in an offline sort of setup. I imagine they both have fairly similar experience for the most part though. So let's see how it turns out. Let's see what the builds are going to be. It is Frozen Temple for map 1, so we're most likely expecting to see a Twilight Council or so coming in the very early stages. We're going to see a pylon coming down. And a second assembly coming down too. Again, no real surprises off of this early expansion from the Protoss player. Now we're going to see Silky. He's not really messing around either. His third hatchery for now is going to come down nice and early. Going to cut some queen production and so on to just get that down early. And then we'll slowly begin to start up his queens right here. Cyan has seen the third base, so he knows that is going down. Just kind of patrolling around, just checking to see if anything else comes out. He knows he's got a little while before Ling Speed kicks in, so he knows he's got some time. Just sit around and see if he can pick up any information towards the front, whether it's a few Lings moving onto the map or whatever. Gonna pull back here though in the end, doesn't want to lose this probe in the end. Wants to keep it alive. And there's our Twilight Council coming in from Cyan, so exactly as we were expecting, most likely the Resonating Glaives. And again, he's not the sort of player who will throw down 7 extra gateways and go for a big Resonating Glaives all in. He's the sort of player here who will realistically just try to aim for that third base, who will put faith in his kind of macro play and see where it brings him in the PvZ. So, as the first Adept comes across the map, going to replace the job of that probe, which is to scout at the front a little bit here, and of course much more effective at it as it can dive in, killing a drone. And also has the potential to jump up into the main base there as well, where it will go. And because there's no queen in the main base, there's no Zerglings here yet either, we're going to be seeing this Adept actually having a pretty good time. One more drone killed off, a bit of a weird Spore Crawler there. Maybe he actually just wants the Spore Crawler in case there is a Stargate or something on the way. Because we're going to be seeing this Adept picks up 4 kills in total, gets out alive too. Very, very, very solid opening here out of Cyan, as he pulls away with that Adept going down to the bottom right side. So Adept heads to the bottom right, and we're all just going to be seeing another pylon adding on towards the front here now. So another pylon being added. I'm just going to be seeing a pylon coming up from Cyan in the back of the natural mineral line as well. The Evolution Chamber comes down here from Silky, so going to be just popping that Evolution Chamber down, and that will suggest then maybe he's going to go for a little bit of aggression. With Pneumataz Carapace finishing, he's going to be making a lot more Lings, and it looks as though he's going to go for a big Ling drop in towards the main of his opponent. So Silky is indeed going to be the player here to change things up, to go for something aggressive. Cuts at 32 workers, doesn't really get any saturation on this third base at all. Just starts spamming out Lings and gets ready to just drop them up in towards his opponent's main base. Question is Cyan going to have enough? Resonating Glaives will be finishing shortly. His extra gates are just finishing up now too. This pylon is going to be so important. He needs to make sure this pylon, in most of all, stays alive. As we see those Lings. A few of them towards the third base already. There's the rest of them joining up towards the center. He sees how many Lings there are, though. Cyan realizing already, I think, how aggressive his opponent is being right now. As a few more Lings jump into these Overlords, and Silky's aggression is going to start moving towards the main base of Cyan as we speak. But Cyan's already sort of in position. In this sort of situation, he doesn't need to save the third base. So if he just sits in the main and stops these Lings from dropping, I mean, if these Lings start dropping now, they're going to drop out one at a time. And so what? The Adepts are going to deal with them so easily. As we see a few Lings on the low ground, yeah, okay, they're going to kill off the next pylon. They're going to kill off this Nexus, sure, but these Lings and the Overlords aren't going to do anything. We see Silky making a few more lings, but also starting to go back in towards a few more drones. But now we're going to see the lings starting to drop off here in the main as the Adepts come down to the third base to defend. And again, I don't really feel he needed to defend this third base, but nonetheless, it seems as though he might be okay anyways, because the ling is wasting time hitting the pylon. Another force field still there on the ramp. The Adept will actually get into position there to help block the ramp, and he's going to get rid of a lot of those Zerglings very easily. And the problem now for Silky is, if he drones up, he doesn't have units to deal with a counterattack. If he makes units, he doesn't have the drawers to stay in the game. He hasn't even killed the third base, so Cyan keeping this alive for now actually leaves a few Adepts at home, sends a few across the map as well, and this is looking very good for our Pros player in this game, as we're going to be seeing these lings continuing to go down. Lings continuing to fall, and a few more lings just coming in from the right-hand side here. So Silky sending a few more lings in towards that third base. We're going to see some Overlords gathering together from our Zerg player. We're going to see another Overlord morphing in, and a single Adept from Cyan coming across the map. This War Prism comes towards the upper left-hand side as well, so War Prism continue to move towards the upper left as we see those Adepts just shading forwards. See some Zerglings getting ready to run on in here, and I'm going to be looking to see what they can get up to as the Zerglings surround, do some damage, but well, these Adepts are going to continue to work their way through the Zerglings as Zerglings run on in once again. And you can just see those Zerglings continue to trade very, very well against these Adepts. So Adepts continuing to fall. A few of them getting very, very low here towards the end. A couple of Queens going down towards the third base, but I mean, there's still just so many Adepts continue to come in. Some Warp Prism Micro as well to keep some of these lower health Adepts alive. Very well played by Cyan. And another warping of Adepts, and this really is Silky now paying for his early aggression, not being successful enough as those Adepts continue to work their way through that hatchery. The Adepts shade on up in towards the main base as well. They're going to cancel because the lings are there. He'd rather just kill off the third base, again playing it safe. And now he goes into Blink +1, 5 more gates at home, just continues to set up into a follow-up, which is just going to kill the Zerg player realistically. I mean, again, it's very difficult for Silky to come back in this. He'll have to do something crazy. I mean, something like a big run by or something being successful, but I don't think he has enough units to realistically catch Cyan off guard in any way, shape or form. Even if he gets across the map, kills the third base, he's still behind in this game, so he has to do some mega damage, and it's just not going to happen with pure Zergling. It really just isn't, and you can see now Cyan again just jumping into a corner, still trading very well here. These Adepts are going to continue to shade back to the bottom right hand side. At home again, that Blink Stalker force is starting to set up, more Mortals are now on the way out as well. A couple of Sentries too. I mean, Silky's not going to jump out of this game just yet. He's going to stay in this for a little while longer. He has this few lings moving on forwards. These two Adepts, Stalkers, Sentries, they're going to keep on fighting. And, well, I mean, it's a bit of a closer fight than you might expect initially just because you expect Cyan to be really far ahead. But as he warps in more units, that is indeed going to be of Cyan versus Silky. And I'm going to hit cross spawns as well, so even more likely we'll see this sort of longer game. To the top left side, from Riot Esports, our Blue Pros player is going to be Cyan. And down to the bottom right, our red Zerg is going to be none other than Silky. We set up into game 2 of this best of 3. We're waiting to see how this gets set up, how this is going to go. Drones just mining away on this middle line here, as you would expect. No early pool or anything like that, just the hatchery first going to come down from our Zerg to get us started on Frost. And in fact, we're going to be seeing something very similar on the other side of the map as Cyan sets up to go for the Nexus first here, pulling his probe down to the low ground. Just going to check for the Overlord timing to check if his opponent is in the bottom left. Sees that he isn't, unless his opponent's Overlord went in the wrong direction. So you can't assume his opponent isn't bottom left, but you can assume... I mean, sending your Overlord north would be kind of the smarter thing to do if you're in the bottom left, because you hit the natural sooner, so you get that information a little bit earlier. But, you know, he can't assume that it's not there, so he's still actually going to scout the bottom left here. And, yeah, okay, he can't assume it's not there, Cyan. It's a good chance that he isn't there, but he can't assume it. So he's still going to end up scouting, and he's just going to pop in here and just try and start figuring out where exactly his opponent has spawned in this game. Drones are mining. Great commentary. I know. I love talking about the drones mining. I mean, it's a very core mechanic of the game. It's definitely worth mentioning that they are mining at the start, because I mean, it's something we never mention. You know, it's very interesting. I mean, these are literally the basis of the entire game. If it wasn't for these drones, we wouldn't have the rest of the game. How incredible is that? As they move back and forth, returning minerals. Okay, it's pretty dull. Hatchery is up, finished, same for the Nexus, or about to be the same for the Nexus over here. Now, the Nexus first does lead into 2 gateways, and because you can get 2 gateways up, it means you actually have a very strong economy from the Nexus first, with a lot of pressure available to you. And it's what, you sort of realize that these two gateways are super powerful. It makes the Nexus first opening so powerful because you have a great economy, but you can put on a lot of pressure early with 2 Adepts at a time, which forces units out of your opponent. The build that we'll probably see here from Cyan is probably him going up to like 8 Adepts or so. Okay, maybe no, he goes for a Stalker straight away. So we're going to see him go straight into a Stalker. So 1 Adept, 1 Stalker. We might see him go for like a gateway base push, but again, those sort of things are very hard to do, kind of moving across the map, like in cross spawns here. So it's a kind of it's an open book right now. Anything could really happen here from Cyan's perspective. Let's wait to see what tech he adds on. In these sort of spawns, I feel a Stargate is very popular, so that's something we could see. We could just see him go Resonating Glaives if you really wanted to, although I'd imagine you'd build not the Stalker if you wanted to go for that, unless the Stalker's just to try and deny some vision from Overlords, etc. Also a possibility. Open book, as I said, as we see the 3rd hat-trick coming down from Silky, so for him it's also a pretty clean slate right now for him to draw out this game. I mean, he can do anything right now, he could still go for something aggressive. He's not even at the work count he was in the last game, when he went for the Ling all-in. So he's got so many possibilities here. He's going to drop the Rotron. 330 is not really super early, but it's not really kind of, it's still a bit earlier than usual. So I'd say this might be something a little bit aggressive, unless he's just really afraid of the kind of 2-gate Adept opening here, and afraid that he might need a few Roaches early just to help him defend. But Cyan just drops the 3rd Nexus down, so he's just going to keep on expanding. Silky makes 8 more Lings. Is this where he actually starts to make some Roaches and just attacks? No, he's going to make some more drones, so it's not going to be Roaches just yet. It is just going to be some defensive Roaches more than anything from a Zerg player, as these Adepts just going to be sitting in the little gap there. We see 2 more gates being added on. And now we wait to see what exactly the tech will be from Cyan. We're still yet to see what it'll be, but it'll probably be at this point Robo Twilight and a Forge, all coming down at fairly similar timings. Still will be the sort of question as to what exactly will come up next, kind of from the Twilight Council. Will it be a Blink upgrade straight away? Will he go into Glaives because he has a few Adepts out? What comes out of the Robo? Does he just go Observers and Warpism? Does he build some Immortals? Does he start with Robo Bay to go into Disruptors? Still a very kind of open game right now, as we see plenty of gates being added on those. So definitely going to commit somewhat to the kind of gateway-based units here, as we see those Lings coming in, just looking to pick off a Probe or 2 as they transfer towards this 3rd base. So a little bit of damage being done here. Those Adepts do finish up. Let's see that one Probe getting chased down. So Probe getting chased down there. Stalker is still in position. Mothership Core 2. As again, a couple of Zerglings starting to go down. A little bit of a lift up in towards the main base here from Silky. So Silky jumping up in towards the main base, and buddy, that's not how you want to... stop it! These Lings! They don't understand what's trying to be done here, I don't think, and that's a very unsuccessful drop in the end there for Silky because of it. So unfortunately for him, that went completely wrong, as we are going to see more gates and actually a Warp Prism Resonating Glaives. We are going to see a commitment to a lot of Adepts here, so Cyan going to turn on the aggression off of 3 bases with a big Adept attack coming on in. Now, Hydroden is on the way up, and that could be dangerous because Hydras do good DPS, but only if they survive for long enough. And the reality is right now that these Resonating Glaives Adepts, if they get on top of the Hydras are not going to survive long enough to deal with these Adepts. So this is going to be very important that Silky has enough units. And right now he's making big rounds of drones, so he has to be very, very cautious of this. Makes a few more Roaches, and that might actually just be the better decision for him here. But even with the right unit composition, it can still be difficult to hold off this sort of attack, because what you'll find is Adepts will all of a sudden be not only in your 3rd base, they'll be in the natural, they'll be in the main, they'll be in the 4th base too, they'll be everywhere. That's what Adepts are so good at. That's what makes these sort of attacks so hard to hold off, because you actually don't know where the Adepts are going to go, where they're going to jump to. It's very hard to keep track of them all the time. And that's when the Adepts really do become their most powerful, when they're jumping around between the bases, keeping the pro Zerg player guessing, keeping the Zerg player responding to his movements. As we're going to be seeing these Adepts picking off another Cryptima just towards the side. We're going to be seeing those Lings, Roaches, a few Ravagers moving forwards here, but the Adepts are going to start fighting here. A couple of Crows of Bars go down. They don't really connect. The Spankle are going to be a little bit of trouble as the units actually pulled back to deal with the threat of the Adepts moving in. And that's the thing as well. You threaten to kind of shade in towards the natural expansion, and the units have to respond to that. If they don't respond to that, well, guess what? You actually do shade into the natural expansion, and then you start picking off units over here. And that's why it's so hard to deal with these Adepts. Even when you have Roaches up, you're going to see these Adepts once more. They're going to start trading against the mineral line in the natural. 24 workers have been killed so far. Cyan has been very successful up until now, but there's still potential for Silky, because yes, he's going to lose a lot, but if he can clean up these Adepts and counterattack, there's a big opportunity for him to get some more damage done, as we're going to be seeing those roaches coming in, continue to trade, but the depths are back in towards the third base now. 40 workers killed. Maybe this is just a little bit too much damage done by Cyan. He's still whooping in the depths. Silky's army's still getting larger though. There's still a possibility for a counterattack if he can find himself the opportunity. I'd like to see Cyan back at home, adding on these gases, going into some immortal production, setting up something at home to defend against continued roach production. He whoops in some zealots now, also over here though, and into some roaches, so they're not going to do very much. 2 corrosive bowels won't kill the whoopism, but will get close, and you can see the adepts are starting to die off. So again, yes, Silky is down 20 workers, but his army supply advantage is huge here, and you can see now Cyan starts up an immortal. Now he begins to think about how he's going to defend this back at home, how he's going to keep his opponent busy for long enough to maybe set up back at home to defend against this. Obviously, if he keeps his opponent busy, then Silky can't move across the map, and if he doesn't move across the map, Cyan has more and more time where he gets more immortals up. His mothership core, well, is already full of energy. He just gets more units out in general at home to defend what really should be a counterattack from Silky. Silky's actually very scared to attack. Maybe doesn't realize that he's just killed so many adepts here. You know, because that's what, you know, that's the trade that's happened. Silky's lost economy, but Cyan's lost army. And so Silky should go use his army advantage now. He isn't doing that, and that's why I get worried for him, because I really feel as though by not doing this, he's thrown away an opportunity. Yes, he's defending this further aggression, but that's exactly what Cyan wants. He wants Silky to stay back at home. He wants Silky to continue defending this location. I was just going to be seeing these roaches and a Ravager just nearby. We don't see any further upgrades off the Twilight Council just yet. Resonating Glaives finished some time ago, of course, for this adept attack, and so we haven't actually seen kind of Blink or anything come in just yet either. We see a second Robo though. I mean, against this Roach heavy force, pumping out a couple of Immortals at a time is definitely going to be useful. We might even see him just go into a Robo Bay, start to go into some Disruptor production, could be very good against this composition as well. So a lot of, you know, still kind of options for Cyan as he starts to set up defensively at home. I mean, you can see it now. Silky's been so long sort of rebuilding his economy. Now Cyan's army really is beginning to compete with Silky's. When you're considering that Silky's army has 22 roaches in it, that's a lot of high supply units. I was just going to be seeing the you'll see it for Silky morphing into a couple of lurkers. He just has some lurkers. Still feeling quite good for Cyan though, as we see the roaches just continue to move around. Going to be looking to defend this War Prism. Good pickups there by Cyan, apart from losing that last adept there. So again, just pressuring, seeing what you can do. Some Hydras continue to come out. Charges on the way, as you would expect. I mean, he's going to go into like a Charge Rod Immortal Archon composition. It's a very standard composition. It's what we saw a lot at the start of Legacy of the Void. A very solid way to fight against this sort of Roach Hydra Lurker force. So that's what we're going to be starting to see now out of Cyan. Army supply of Silky's just skyrocketed though. He's actually up at 118 army supply at this point in time. So he has some potential still, as we do see this War Prism still moving around the left-hand side of the map. So War Prism just continue to move around the left-hand side, and, well, I'm not sure where exactly he's going to be going with that. I mean, he's currently going to run into this army, so he's obviously wanted to change directions. It's just unfortunate the sort of timing of it. As this attack comes across the map, this is it. I mean, this is where Cyan needs to make sure he's ready to fight. He has a lot of Immortals. There's only 3 Lurkers here, which is one of the good things, and actually the first force fields are fantastic. The Lurker's currently out of range. Not really helping at all. Overcharge is going to be helping a lot as well. 10 workers being killed at the same time as some adepts come back across the map. 10 workers killed. Good damage done there. So Silky is still behind on worker count, and so it really is just about defending this. Defend this, and you're in a fantastic position as the Protoss player. Another overcharge being popped. Another one as well. Continue to defend this location. A single lurker there at the front gets taken down very swiftly. Has to keep this observer alive. Can't let that go down to the Hydras. Pulling it back, making sure he keeps it alive there. Good control so far. Only 2 lurkers left, and those 2 lurkers, yeah, they are damaged, but it's not too much damage. And actually, with so many Hydras left in this, I think a round of Zealots to just tank a little bit and to get those Immortals near enough might just be all Cyan really needs. Adepts did get dealt with down to the south side, but again, it's still Silky on 50 workers to the 69 probes. I'm just going to be seeing a few more lurkers morphing in. So this time we're going to have a few more lurkers setting up into this. We still need some more Zealots from Cyan. I feel as though the Zealots very important to be able to kind of get the tanking going initially. As we see a couple of lurkers burrowing, and Cyan not going to fight into that just yet. It's starting to split up his army a little bit. This is the first macro game we've seen all day from Silky, and, well, honestly, it's still kind of winnable for him. He's doing a little bit better than he's done with all of his different sort of attempts to be aggressive. As we see the lurkers burrow, they do a bit of damage onto the Archon there. And I see these Roaches and Ravagers just pulling back a little bit. Those Archons moving forwards again. Oh my god! Archon's taking a lot of damage. The Lurker's really starting to add onto the damage. The Zealots are stuck in the back. They can't get forward. Cyan can't fight this at the moment. He can't fight this at all at the moment, as we're going to be seeing. Another couple of Ravagers morphing in, moving forwards once again. These Lurkers get into position to burrow. These Roaches, Ravagers, Hydras going to push forwards once more. And, well, here we go. The Zealot's going to run in, but the Lurkers, and again, the Zealot's in the back of the army. Cyan's just going to lose his army here. He's going to lose the fourth base. And actually, I just don't think you can fight against this Lurker count. So, Cyan did so much damage here early on. But again, it comes down to the fact that Silky still has a good army. And, you know, while he rebuilds that worker count, his army can get stuff done to help him as the game continues. The tech and so on is very delayed from Cyan. And that obviously helps our Zerg player as well in this game after holding that attack that his opponent has to take so long to kind of set up into his own tech. We're just going to be seeing these Lurkers burrowing once more. And we are going to be seeing these Immortals coming forward, trying to tickling this out, but there's just too many units. Too much indecision in the engagements against the Lurkers from Cyan, I think. Too much kind of, you know, Zealots being caught behind the Immortals and so on. And that's going to be GG. Silky will take a map, which is great because it means both players will at least... This is going to go to the top right-hand side. Our red Zerg player from X Team. Can he make it through into the decider match where he would play against Haas? Let's hear it. If you're cheering on, Silky. Down to the bottom left-hand side, our blue Protoss player from Rye Esports. Ladies and gentlemen, let's hear some love for Cyan. Very glad to be able to bring you the English coverage of this event, guys. It's a great opportunity for me. It's probably one of the largest events. I think it is the largest event I've ever casted as like the main English stream. It's crazy. So, really great to be able to bring you for you guys all week long. We'll have a little bit of other content throughout the week as well. Some games here, some games there. August especially is going to be a very exciting month for us here. So, I'm looking forward to it. I hope you guys are as well. As you're just going to be seeing that probe from Cyan going in towards the upper right hand side to scout early in this game to try and figure out what his opponent is getting up to see what the build order will be. And it is looking to be a free hatch before pool, actually. Another drone coming down to the low ground. Gonna start heading over there, sneaks out just before the probe gets in. So it is going to be hatch gas pool right now coming on into this. So hatch gas pool, sorry, not hatch gas pool, and that's, sorry, like completely opposite. I was looking to see why people were getting timed out. Gonna be free hatch before pool here. So no gas just yet, as we're going to be seeing. Probe just moving around from Cyan. So, I mean, Cyan sees this. He can respond as he wishes to do so himself. He can go into a build order he feels is very good against a free hatch before pool, of course. And we're just going to be seeing that Cybernetics core continuing to come on up right now. So, Cybercore going to be finishing very shortly. And I mean, it's Galactic Process. I love this map. I say this every single time we come into it. I really just do love this map. It's probably my favourite of the new ladder maps because I really like the layout. I know it's very similar to Cloud Kingdom, but I feel it's very dynamic with different sets of rocks and so on. I mean, even if it is similar to Cloud Kingdom, I love the way you can take different bases depending on how the game is going. I've seen this forward base being taken and set up as a stronghold as like a 4th or 5th base. It's really, really cool how the game plays out so differently in different matchups, and even within the same matchup, with different compositions. I'm going to be seeing this probe coming down back home now. It's done the scouting. I mean, he's seen free action before police, so confirmed there was a gas as well, so it's not going to be a completely gasless opening. So, I mean, he's seen everything he needs to with the initial probe. Adept will take the place for Cyan at the front, and again, we'll continue to try and scout here. As we're going to be seeing the Adept continue to come across, and we'll just be jumping in towards the natural expansion. Try and get some damage done. Last time he did open, when Adept got into the mineral line on Frozen Temple, he did get quite a bit of damage done with this. He got in there, he killed about 4 workers, and the Adept survived. This time, Silky pulls his drones away. It doesn't look as though he's going to take any damage here overall. I mean, a couple of Lings lost, but that's much better than losing a couple of drones. Still loses 1 drone just at the end there, as the Adept does end up shading away. +1 melee is going to be added on now as well from Silky, so +1 melee getting added. Link speed will be finishing now. The +1 melee is definitely worth kind of focusing on a moment or two because it's a very different build. It suggests he's going to play a very Ling heavy style, and on this map with so many map pathways, counterattacks and so on can be very effective, especially as you open up the rocks towards your opponent's 3rd base throughout the game as well, whether it's these back rocks here or these rocks over here. There's so much potential for run-bys. These rocks over here as well could go down. So we are going to see a Ling-heavy playstyle out of Silky, which can lead into maybe some Infestor-based play later in the game, maybe a Mutalisk playstyle as well. A lot of different possibilities. Maybe just play Hydra Bane as the game goes on. I'd actually be very surprised if we didn't see a Baneland Nest at some point with this +1 melee upgrade, as we see some Adepts just shading around. Cyan going to opt for the third base off to the top side here, so already we're seeing kind of a perfect example of how different players will take different bases here on Galactic Process. Now these Zerglings coming across, Silky going to look to try and cancel this very early on. The Adepts will come down though, and we'll actually greet these Zerglings already, so he probably won't come down. Actually, Silky doesn't know the third base is over here just yet, so he not knowing that is a little bit of a shame for him, and now these Adepts are going to have those Zerglings cornered. As we're going to be seeing the Adepts shading across the map again. Resonating Glaives is up, so he wants to get across, he wants to do something with this. He says, well, you know what, I'll be able to deal with those Lings with some reinforcements. That's exactly what he sets up to do. As Silky comes in to the left-hand side, he spots this base now. We'll start to work his way against it. More Adepts still moving across the map. +1 melee about to kick in. As we go see an overcharge, though, will protect this third base momentarily, but more Lings, so that pylon will eventually go down. There's those Adepts coming in here. Where are the units out of Silky? They're not here just yet. Lings beginning to pop, but guess what? These Adepts have glaives, so the Lings die very quickly. And this is problematic right now for Silky. Yes, he's doing a little bit across the map, but real issue is going to be the fact he's going to lose a lot over here. I mean, no reason for his opponent to shade up into the main base just yet, unless he feels as though there's going to be more chance of worker kills than chasing those workers down on the low ground. Roach run has now finished. We're going to be seeing first two Roaches starting up here, but again, pure Ling is not good against this at all. And so for now, these Adepts continue to have the time of their lives. 9 workers killed. Good damage done here as we shade back down into the natural expansion. Going to cancel that actually. There's a little bit more time in the main base. Another Queen. And that's the second Queen which now goes down in this little skirmish. So 10 workers, 2 Queens. Cyan takes a 16 worker lead. Holds his third base at home. And he puts himself in a very good position. And this time, because he's not as all in and not as committed, he loses a few Adepts, yes. But he also trades out some Zerglings. And he also has been producing Adepts at home. So, you know, he's done a lot of damage. It's been a much more effective trade for him this time as he jumps onto the Zerglings once again. Silky starts up at 4th base, the right side of the map, but not like he's going to be able to use that anytime soon with his 40 worker count. Doesn't really boast that he's going to have many workers to kind of play with here. And as we will be seeing them Adepts cancelling their shades once again, trying to move forwards once more. Roach is very quick to respond to those Adepts though. Killing off one of them. The Adepts, are they going to commit to the third base? They might. The Roaches aren't here just yet. The Zerglings are in. They're going to start going down very quickly, though. It's a good position once again. It's another good trade out of Cyan. Continuing to put himself into better and better leads throughout this, as we're going to be seeing another couple of drones getting picked away at. We're going to see a few Adepts just shading over to the main base as well. As we see 2, 3 more drones continuing to go down here. I mean, just drones all over the place continuing to fall. There's an Adept over here in the third base still. Adept still in the main base. Silky's just being adapted out of this game and out of the tournament because this is the loser's match. The loser is done for. The loser is out. The winner will go through to play Haas in the decider match here today to see who joins UFilm in advancing through to the playoffs. And right now it looks as though we're going to get that PvP rematch between Cyan and Haas. It'll be interesting to see how that goes. We're going to see an Evo Chamber and an Extractor taken here. Silky continuing to set up. As we're going to be seeing a few more units just warping in into the gateway. Going to morph in here as well. And, yeah, Warpism coming across towards the upper side of the map. Cyan going to continue with this aggression. I mean, slowly but surely he's building into Immortals as well. I mean, slowly but surely he's already got 3, he's got 2 more on the way. So I mean, he's continuing to again get set up into that next stage of the game so he can fight against these Roaches, so he can go for a push, which will end this game. Probably as he hits Blink and +1, he'll probably attack across the map. I mean, this time there's not going to be lurkers out. There literally is only, right now, not even a lair on the map. That's how far behind Silky is. He doesn't even have a lair. He's only just started it. So, Silky, 8 minutes, starting his lair. That's the trouble in position he finds himself in right now. As we see a few Adepts in that Warp Prism going to get set to move forwards and try and see what he can do against some of these mineral lines. As we'll just be having another sentry or 2 warping in, a few more Adepts. Going to be warping in here as well. Going to be beginning to move forwards here from Cyan. So Cyan will begin to move forwards. Going to see that Warp Prism from Cyan is still just looking around him. He sees the Roaches here, so he won't commit. He'll just bring his Warp Prism back towards the rest of his units. Continues to expand up the left-hand side into this gold base now. So, again, very similar to what I was talking about at the start of this game, where you can see players taking that as a forward base. That's why I love this map so much. I love maps that have interesting expansion patterns, and this definitely is one of the maps where there's just so many different options to take different expands in different places. As we see, well, this 4th base from Silky is not going to have a very good time against this Protoss army. You can just see it is going down very, very swiftly. The drones pull away. Adepts will shade to the high ground, a little bit of scouting to see what he's about to be attacking up into in the very near future. And Cyan will know he's got more than enough here. As he pushes on up, we're going to be seeing Cyan pushing on in. And this is going to be Cyan taking game number 3. He's going to advance to play Haas in the decided match as the force fields come down, cutting that army in half. GG. Cyan moves through to play Haas in the decided match of Group A of the Neo Star League International 2016.